Captain Alina Rice pressed her palm against the viewport of the Pathfinder, the cold glass grounding her as she stared at the impossible. The vessel hung motionless against the backdrop of the asteroid belt, its massive hull reflecting starlight in patterns that seemed almost deliberate, like a beacon. "How did we miss this on the initial survey?" she asked, not taking her eyes off the discovery. Navigation Officer Dawson shook his head. "It wasn't there 3 days ago, Captain. Or it was cloaked. Or our sensors were being deliberately missiled. Take your pick." The alien vessel dwarfed their exploration ship by at least 20 times. Its design defied conventional aerospace engineering. Curves where there should be angles, surfaces that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, and markings that resembled circuitry etched into hull plating of an unknown alloy. "Life signs?" Alina asked. "Negative," replied Security Chief Valentina Kozlov, her eyes narrowed at her console. "But there's definitely power. Minimal, but present. Background radiation suggests it's been here for... Well, the dating algorithm keeps returning errors. It's old, Captain. Very old." Alina straightened her uniform jacket. This was the moment every explorer dreamed of. First contact, or at least contact with the remains of something not human. After a century of space exploration, and only finding microbial life, humanity had begun to wonder if they were alone among the stars. "Prep the shuttle. I want a boarding team ready in 20 minutes. Standard first contact protocols, plus quarantine measures." As her crew scrambled to prepare, Alina sent the required notification to Earth Command, knowing full well their response wouldn't arrive for hours. Out here on the frontier, captains made their own decisions. The shuttle approach revealed new details, scorch marks on the hull that spoke of ancient battles, and an entry port that hung partially open, like a mouth frozen midward. Engineer Maya Chen fidgeted with her equipment as they approached, her dark eyes reflecting the unknown vessel. "That architecture," she whispered. "It's like looking at the future and the past simultaneously." The docking procedure was surprisingly simple. Whatever incomprehensible technology the ship employed, its airlock systems adapted to the human shuttle with minimal coaxing. As the boarding team secured their helmets, Alina reminded them of the stakes. "We represent all of humanity in this moment. We move carefully, document everything, and touch nothing without authorization. Clear?" The team acknowledged with tense nods. The airlock cycled, revealing a corridor that seemed to stretch impossibly far for the ship's external dimensions. The team's lights caught dust motes floating in perfect stillness, as if time itself had paused within the vessel. The artificial gravity was still functioning at approximately Earth normal, another impossibility for a ship so ancient. Maya's instruments sprang to life, readings spiking across her display. "Captain, I'm detecting energy fluctuations. The ship is responding to our presence." As if confirming her words, soft lights began to illuminate along the floor, creating a path deeper into the vessel. The overhead systems remained dark, but this deliberate illumination could not be coincidence. "It's inviting us in," whispered Communications Officer Torres. On the bridge of the Pathfinder, the comms array suddenly activated without human input. A signal burst forth from the derelict, powerful enough to be detected light years away, a signal that hadn't been transmitted in millennia. Across the galaxy, in a meditation chamber lined with the preserved nervous systems of conquered species, the Zexeri Emperor's compound eyes snapped open as a long-dormant alert demanded his attention. The World Breaker had been found. 48 hours after discovering the vessel, Captain Alina Rice stood on what they'd identified as the command deck. Holographic interfaces had sprung to life under Maya Chen's touch, filling the cavernous chamber with ghostly displays of star systems none of them recognized. "It's like it's been waiting for us," Maya said, her fingers hovering over symbols that rearranged themselves as she watched. "The interfaces are adapting to human cognition patterns." Dr. Sanjay Patel gestured toward a tendril-like protrusion that seemed to merge with the command console. "There's an organic component to this technology. The ship is partially alive, or was designed to mimic life. Elena was about to respond when Security Chief Kozlov's voice cut through their comms. "Captain, we have company." The view screen activated without prompting, revealing a sleek vessel that had materialized without triggering their proximity alerts. Its obsidian hull was etched with crimson patterns that pulsed with internal light. It was unmistakably built for war. "How the hell did they approach without detection?" Elena demanded. "Their technology is beyond anything we've encountered," Kozlov replied. "They're hailing us, not the Pathfinder, but specifically this vessel." Elena straightened her uniform. "Put them through." A holographic display shifted, replaced by a figure that caused the entire bridge crew to take an involuntary step back. The alien stood at least 8 feet tall, its body covered in iridescent scales that shifted color with each movement. Multiple jointed limbs extended from a torso that tapered to a serpentine lower body. Its head featured compound eyes that reflected their images back in fractured multiplication. "I am Grand Emissary Vorkalash of the Eternal Zexari Empire," the creature announced, its translator rendering the harmonic speech into flat English. "You have committed an act of desecration and theft against our most sacred property. Your existence is now forfeit." Elena stepped forward, grateful for the first contact training that kept her voice steady. "I am Captain Elena Reyes of the Terran vessel Pathfinder *. We claim this derelict under Galactic Salvage Statute 15B. We detected no beacon, no identification, and no life signs." The emissary's scales flushed crimson. "Ignorance does not excuse sacrilege. The World Breaker is the holiest relic of our civilization. Its discovery was prophesied to herald our final ascension." World Breaker *. Dr. Patel whispered, exchanging alarmed glances with Maya. The emissary continued, "You will remove yourselves immediately. This vessel returns with us to Imperial space for purification rituals." Elena felt the weight of humanity's future pressing down on her shoulders. Earth was still decades from developing the technology this single alien ship displayed. If this was merely an emissary, what would the Empire's military vessels be capable of? Yet she couldn't ignore what they'd discovered. This ship responded to humans in ways it clearly hadn't to the Zexari, despite their claimed connection. She made her decision. "According to your own Empire's contributions to the Galactic Compact of 2189, salvage rights are irrevocable once claimed on abandoned vessels." She stepped closer to the hologram. "This ship doesn't belong to anyone, but it's ours now." The emissary's translator couldn't fully capture the sound that followed, something between a hiss and a scream. "You have no understanding of what you've taken, or what it will cost you. The World Breaker is not merely a ship, it is the instrument of our prophecy, capable of shattering planets." Behind Elena, Maya whispered urgently, "Captain, the ship's systems are responding defensively to their presence. Some kind of automated protection protocol is activating." The emissary's compound eyes fixed on Maya. "The primitives have accessed the interface. Impossible." Its manipulator limbs gestured rapidly to someone off-screen. "This changes everything. Prepare for immediate extraction." The transmission cut abruptly, leaving the human crew staring at empty space, and the dawning realization that they had just challenged an interstellar empire with technology centuries beyond their own. "They're sending reinforcements," Kozlov announced, studying the tactical display. "Multiple vessels approaching at FTL speeds. ETA 6 hours. Captain Elena Reyes gathered her senior crew in what they designated as the conference room, a chamber where the walls themselves seemed to shift with subtle patterns that mirrored their brain activity. Earth Command had responded to their first contact report with predictable caution. Maintain possession of the vessel if possible, but prioritize crew safety and technological acquisition. "We need leverage," Elena said. "Something to make them think twice about simply taking this ship by force." Maya Chen had barely slept since boarding the Worldbreaker, her usual meticulousness giving way to feverish fascination. "Captain, I found something." She gestured to a neural interface helmet she'd cobbled together from ship components. The system architecture is. It's like nothing I've ever seen. It's not just responding to input, it's learning, adapting to human cognitive patterns. Is it safe? Dr. Patil asked, eyeing the alien technology warily. Theoretically, Maya replied, her exhaustion evident in the dark circles under her eyes. I've run diagnostics using our equipment. The interface doesn't seem designed to harm users, quite the opposite. Alina weighed her options. We're out of time for caution. Do it. Maya lowered the interface onto her head. The moment contact was made, the ship's ambient lighting pulsed once, and Maya gasped, her body going rigid. Maya. Alina moved toward her, but stopped as holographic displays erupted throughout the room, filling the space with cascading data and images too rapid to follow. In the center of the room, a humanoid figure materialized, tall and elegant, with features that seemed almost human but not quite, skin with a subtle luminescence, and eyes with vertically slit pupils. When it spoke, the words emerged in perfect English. Genetic compatibility confirmed. Predecessor descent line identified. Initiating awakening protocols. Maya's eyes snapped open, now flecked with the same luminescence as the holographic figure. I can see everything, she whispered. The ship, it calls itself Guardian. It's been waiting for us. Not for us, the hologram corrected. For the descendants of the predecessors. After 50,000 years of dormancy, the seed ship has found viable inheritors. Before Alina could demand clarification, the ship shuddered as something struck its outer hull. Zexuri boarding craft, Kozlov reported. They're attempting forced entry at multiple points. The hologram's expression hardened. The exterminators have returned. Defense systems activating. Throughout the massive vessel, dormant systems hummed to life. On the outer hull, energy fields shimmered into existence, repelling the Zexuri craft with non-lethal but decisive force. Through her neural link, Maya accessed the ship's historical archives, her eyes widening as the truth revealed itself. Captain, she said, her voice breaking, the predecessors weren't just another alien species. They were systematically exterminated by the early Zexuri Empire. And according to Guardian's genetic analysis, they're our ancestors. Alina stared at the hologram, pieces falling into place. That's why the ship responds to us, but not to them. Why they call it sacred but can't operate it. Guardian nodded solemnly. The World Breaker was never a weapon of planetary destruction, as Zexuri mythology claims. It was the last hope of a dying species, a vessel designed to preserve our legacy until our children were ready to reclaim it. The ship shuddered again as a larger Zexuri vessel opened fire. And now, Guardian concluded, your trial by fire begins. We can't stay here, Captain Alina Ray shouted over the alarms. The Asterisk World Breaker's Asterisk defensive systems were holding, but the Zexuri had brought in a cruiser-class vessel, its weapons gradually overwhelming the ancient ship shields. The Pathfinder is lost, Communications Officer Torres reported grimly. They've destroyed our ship. Alina felt the weight of command pressing down on her. 27 crew members looked to her for their survival, stranded on an alien vessel in a standoff with an interstellar empire. Can we move this ship? She asked Maya, who remained connected to Guardian through the neural interface. Maya's eyes flickered with code-like patterns as she communicated silently with the ship's systems. The propulsion technology it's not conventional. It doesn't push against space, it folds it. The drive requires significant power, Guardian's hologram added. It has been conserving energy for millennia. A full navigation jump would drain our remaining reserves. Another impact rocked the ship. On the tactical display, 5 more Zexuri vessels were approaching. We don't have a choice, Alina decided. Maya, can you pilot this thing? Maya nodded slowly, her movements unnaturally fluid as the ship's systems integrated with her nervous system. I can feel the controls. It's like they were designed for human minds. Because they were, Guardian confirmed. The predecessors created this technology to be intuitive to their neural patterns, patterns you've inherited. Alina addressed her crew. Secure all stations and prepare for whatever happens next. She turned to Maya. Get us out of here. Maya closed her eyes, her consciousness expanding through the ship's systems. Throughout the massive vessel, dormant engines began to awaken. Deep in the engineering sections, technology that defied human understanding roared to life, drawing power from the fabric of space-time itself. On the Zexari command ship, Grand Admiral Vex Karoth watched in disbelief as energy readings from the Worldbreaker spiked exponentially. Impossible, he hissed. Increase bombardment. Do not let them activate the world-cleaving weapon. The Zexari ships concentrated their fire, but too late. Around the Worldbreaker, space itself began to ripple like disturbed water. The massive vessel shuddered once, then shot forward with impossible acceleration that somehow exerted no G-forces on its occupants. Inside, the human crew watched in awe as stars streaked past the viewports. The sensation was nothing like conventional faster-than-light travel. Instead of pushing through space, they were skipping across it like a stone over water. Maya gasped as information flooded her consciousness. We're navigating through folds in space-time, she explained breathlessly. The ship is creating temporary wormholes, moving through them, and collapsing them behind us. Can they follow? Alina asked. Guardian's hologram shook its head. The Zexari never understood this technology. It is why they feared the Worldbreaker so deeply. The view screen showed the pursuing vessels growing smaller until they vanished entirely. For the moment, they were safe, but adrift in unknown space, aboard a ship they barely understood, with an empire's wrath behind them. Maya suddenly stiffened, new information streaming through her neural link. Captain, she said, her voice tight with urgency, the ship has set a course. It's taking us somewhere specific. Where? Alina demanded. Maya's eyes widened as the answer came to her. Home, she whispered. It's taking us to the predecessor homeworld. 3 days into their journey, the Worldbreaker dropped out of fold space near an unremarkable red dwarf star. Captain Alina Reyes stared at the view screen with confusion. This can't be the predecessor homeworld, she said. There are no habitable planets in this system. Guardian's hologram appeared beside her. Not anymore, it said gravely. What you see before you is all that remains of Antaria, cradle of my creators. The view screen magnified to show a debris field orbiting the dim star, fragments of what had once been planets, now reduced to a lifeless asteroid belt. The Zexari, Maya whispered, information flowing through her neural link. They didn't just defeat the predecessors, they destroyed their entire star system. Guardian nodded. The final act of the extermination war. The Zexari used gravitic weapons to collapse Antaria's planets, ensuring no trace of predecessor civilization would remain. Dr. Paddle studied the sensor readings. But why bring us here? There's nothing left. Not on the surface, Guardian replied. As it spoke, the Worldbreaker moved deeper into the debris field, approaching what appeared to be a particularly large asteroid. Before the end, the predecessors created sanctuaries, repositories of knowledge, hidden where the Zexari would never think to look. The ship extended a beam toward the asteroid, which responded by unfolding like a flower, revealing an artificial structure concealed within. One of 17 archives, Guardian explained. This one contains the complete biological and historical records of the predecessor civilization. The hologram gestured, and the conference room filled with projected images, cities of impossible architecture, beings similar to Guardian walking among structures that merged technology and biology seamlessly, spacecraft that made even the Worldbreaker seem primitive. At their height, the predecessors spanned 300 star systems, Guardian continued. They were not conquerors. They were builders, creators, explorers. Their philosophy centered on preservation rather than destruction. So what happened? Security Chief Kozlov asked. The Zexari happened, Maya answered, her voice distant as she accessed the archive through the ship's connection. They were a young, Aggressive species the predecessors had helped elevate to spacefaring status. They'd repaid that guidance with betrayal. Guardian's expression darkened. The Zexari Emperor Krith Verex rejected the predecessor path of cooperation. He declared that the future belonged to the strong, not the wise. The extermination war lasted 87 years. By the end, only a handful of predecessor vessels escaped. Alina felt a chill, and one of those ships found Earth. Yes, Guardian confirmed. Approximately 40,000 of your years ago. The refugee ship crashed in what you now call East Africa. The survivors, weakened by their journey and unable to repair their vessel, integrated with the early hominid population they encountered. Dr. Patel's hands trembled as he checked readings from his medical scanner. That explains the genetic compatibility. We're hybrids. The so-called Great Leap Forward in human evolution wasn't natural selection at all. Maya's eyes snapped fully open, luminescent tears tracking down her cheeks. I can see it all, she whispered. What the Zexari did. What they've become. They built their entire empire on the foundation of genocide, then rewrote history to cast themselves as heroes. The ship shuddered suddenly as alarms blared. Multiple fold space signatures detected, Guardian announced. The Zexari have found us. Battle stations. Captain Alina Reyes ordered as the tactical display filled with Zexari vessels, not just the pursuit squadron, but a full battle group. How did they find us so quickly? The archive activation triggered dormant beacons, Guardian explained. An unavoidable risk. Maya's eyes flickered with data as she maintained her neural connection to the ship. We don't have enough power for another full jump. The archive download drained our reserves. 3 massive Zexari dreadnoughts moved to surround the Worldbreaker, their weapons ports glowing with charged energy. On the command view screen, Grand Admiral Vex Karoth's scaled face appeared, mandibles clicking with barely contained rage. Surrender the vessel immediately, he demanded. The Emperor has authorized your execution for theft of sacred Imperial property and violation of forbidden space. Alina stood tall, though her heart hammered in her chest. We know the truth, Admiral, about the predecessors, about what your empire did to them, about what you've hidden from the galaxy. The Admiral's compound eyes narrowed. The scribing of history belongs to the victors, human. Your primitive species wasn't even present for these events. But we were, Maya said, stepping into view. The neural interface had changed her, her eyes now permanently reflecting the luminescence of Guardian, her movements synchronized with the ship's systems. We are their children, their inheritors. Vex Karoth recoiled visibly. Abominations. The taint should have been purged from the galaxy millennia ago. Open fire, he commanded his fleet. Energy weapons lanced toward the Worldbreaker from all directions. Guardian's hologram raised a hand, and the ship's defensive systems activated. Not the passive shields from before, but something far more sophisticated. The Zexari weapons fire didn't impact against barriers. Instead, it was redirected, flowing around the ancient vessel like water around a stone. Download from the archive complete, Guardian announced. Defensive protocols upgraded. Maya smiled, an expression both serene and terrible. You've never understood the predecessors, Admiral. Even their defensive technology wasn't designed to destroy, only to preserve. Through her neural link, Maya activated systems dormant for millennia. The Worldbreaker pulsed once, and a wave of energy expanded outward. When it reached the Zexari vessels, their weapon systems simply deactivated. Engines sputtered. Communication arrays fell silent. The Admiral's transmission cut off mid-threat. What did you do? Elena asked, staring in amazement at the suddenly impotent armada. Targeted electromagnetic pulse, Maya explained. Predecessor technology at its finest. It neutralized their offensive capabilities without harming the crews. The effect is temporary, Guardian cautioned. We have perhaps 30 minutes before their systems reset. Alina nodded decisively. That's all we need. Set course for Earth, maximum sustainable speed. It's time we brought this ship home. As the Worldbreaker slipped away from the disabled Zexari fleet, the Admiral watched helplessly. For the first time in centuries, true fear gripped the hardened commander. The Primitives hadn't just activated the legendary vessel, they had mastered it in ways the Empire never could. Across the Zexari Empire, whispers began to spread as reports filtered in. Fragmentary communications, rumors of humiliation, tales of humans commanding the Worldbreaker with an ease that defied imperial understanding. On subjugated worlds, where species had lived under Zexari dominance for generations, these whispers kindled something dangerous. Earth's defense fleet, 43 ships representing humanity's best technology, arranged themselves in a protective formation as the Worldbreaker approached the outer edge of the solar system. Behind them, the blue-green planet continued its peaceful orbit, oblivious to the gathering storm. "They're hailing us, Captain," Torres reported. Admiral Chen of the EDF Orion. Elena felt a flutter of recognition. "Put her through." The stern face of Admiral Lian Chen, Maya's mother, appeared on screen. Her eyes widened briefly at the sight of her daughter standing beside the captain, visibly changed by her neural connection to the alien vessel. "Captain Reyes," Admiral Chen said formally, "you've caused quite the diplomatic situation." "Admiral, we've discovered." "I know what you've discovered," the Admiral interrupted. "Your transmissions reached us. The UN Security Council and Global Defense Initiative have been in emergency session for days." She paused. "And we've had visitors. The Zexari Emperor himself sent an envoy demanding we surrender you and the vessel immediately." Maya stepped forward. "Mother, you need to understand what's really happening. The Zexari Empire is built on genocide. We have proof that." A new alarm cut through the conversation. Guardian's hologram appeared, expression grave. "Multiple fold space signatures detected," it announced. "Massive fleet incoming." The view screen shifted to show space itself tearing open as hundreds, then thousands, of Zexari warships emerged from fold space, arranging themselves in a battle formation that stretched across the solar system's edge. "Mother," Maya whispered, "you need to stand down. You can't fight this." Admiral Chen's face hardened. "We don't surrender Earth vessels to foreign powers, no matter the odds." The largest Zexari ship, a behemoth that dwarfed even the Worldbreaker, moved to the front of the formation. A transmission cut through all channels, overriding communications across the system. The being that appeared on screen wore ornate armor crafted from materials that seemed to absorb light. 6 arms were adorned with ceremonial weapons, and a crown of what appeared to be crystallized neural tissue encircled its head. "I am Emperor Vraxenoth, 37th ruler of the eternal Zexari Empire," the being announced, its translator rendering the complex harmonics into flat human speech. "Your species has stolen sacred imperial property, accessed forbidden knowledge, and defied lawful command. For these crimes, your world will be cleansed of life." Elena stepped forward. "Your Majesty, before you commit to this course, I suggest you review the data we're transmitting now." She nodded to Maya, who sent the complete archive records through the open channel, irrefutable evidence of the predecessor genocide, the true history the Empire had suppressed for millennia. "This is the foundation your empire is built upon," Elena continued. "Not glory, but extinction. Not divine right, but mass murder." The Emperor's mandibles clacked in rage. "Fabrications. The Primitives have corrupted the archives." "Then explain this," Maya said, her voice resonating with the ship's power. She raised her hand, and the Worldbreaker pulsed with energy. Throughout the solar system, dormant structures activated, predecessor outposts hidden beneath the surfaces of Mars, Europa, Titan, and a dozen asteroids. Technology that had lain dormant for 40,000 years awakened, responding to the Worldbreaker's signal. A network of energy formed between them, creating a defensive web that encompassed the entire solar system. "We are not your enemy," Elena said to the stunned Emperor, "but we will not be your victims either." 3 days of tense silence followed. The Zexeri fleet remained in position, weapons primed but inactive. Earth's defenses stood ready, the ancient predecessor network humming with power beyond human understanding. Between them hung the asterisk world breaker asterisk, bridge to a past humanity never knew it had. "The Emperor is hailing us," Torres announced. Private channel. Captain Alina Reyes straightened her uniform and nodded. "Just me and Maya." Emperor Vraxinoth's image appeared, but something had changed. The imperial rage had faded, replaced by something more calculating, perhaps even respectful. "Your evidence is compelling," the Emperor said without preamble. "Our archivists have confirmed its authenticity." "And?" Alina pressed. 37 generations of my line have ruled based on a foundation that now proves incomplete." The Emperor's compound eyes fixed on Maya. "You truly are their descendants. The vessel responds to you as it never did to us." Maya nodded, her altered eyes gleaming. "We didn't ask for this heritage, but we won't deny it either." The Emperor was silent for a long moment. "For millennia, the World Breaker has been a religious symbol, the instrument of our prophesied final ascension. To learn its true purpose, to face what my ancestors did. History cannot be undone," Alina said quietly. "But the future isn't written yet." After another silence, the Emperor spoke. "I propose a summit. Neutral territory. The foundation of the Zexeri Empire must be reconsidered, and humanity's place in the Galactic Order reassessed." When the transmission ended, Alina found Admiral Chen waiting on the bridge. "Can we trust them?" the Admiral asked bluntly. Maya smiled. "They have no choice. The archive data is being transmitted across their empire by channels they can't block. Their subject worlds are already in turmoil. It's negotiate or collapse." 1 month later, Alina stood beside Maya on the observation deck of the Worldbreaker, watching Earth grow smaller as they led humanity's first official diplomatic mission to the stars. Behind them, a fleet of new vessels incorporated the first carefully adapted elements of predecessor technology. "Guardian says there are 16 other seed ships," Maya said, "scattered across the galaxy, waiting for the right genetic markers to activate them. We might not be the only descendants out there." Alina nodded, contemplating how quickly everything had changed. The Zexeri Empire was beginning painful reforms, with previously subjugated species gaining representation for the first time. Humanity had gone from cosmic newcomer to major power overnight, and the truth of their origins had sparked philosophical and religious debates that would likely continue for generations. "You know," Alina said, "when I first found this ship and told the Zexeri it was ours now, I had no idea what that really meant." Maya touched the wall of the ancient vessel, feeling its subtle response to her presence. It never belonged to anyone, until now. Not because we claimed it, but because it claimed us. As the Worldbreaker led humanity's ships toward the first diplomatic congress, Alina reflected on how the nightmare of one empire had become the awakening of another. They weren't just humans anymore. They were inheritors of a legacy, both burden and gift. Descendants of a civilization that had chosen preservation over destruction. And now, they would help shape a galaxy learning to do the same.